So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today in central Mali, the Malian armed forces sieged an enemy base, and by the time the Malian forces completely subdued the enemy in this base, they were able to discover some of the abandoned properties of the enemy, like food, like logistics, where they stored their food. Ladies and gentlemen, in this operation, several enemies were neutralized before the Malians got into this hideout of these terrorists. And as we speak, the entire base of the enemies have been completely destroyed. Now, after carefully carrying out reconnaissance operation, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Mali have given a report where in a day the Malian have been able to neutralize 65 elements in central Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go into this discussion. According to information, this theater of operation was in the fire forest. Ladies and gentlemen, the fire forest is located in central Mali. According to information, the former air vectors discovered a terrorist base in Kassala, and when they discovered this base, they launched a precision targeted strike that took out 20 enemy on site. Ladies and gentlemen, some of these enemy fighters were able to escape from the scene of action, but how far they went, we cannot report. But on site, 20 KIA. Then in the east of Kassala, the Malian armed forces maintained a surveillance and reconnaissance operation to track those that were fleeing from the initial kinetic site, and they discovered a retreating base of this element where the Malian armed forces launched another precision targeted strike, destroying the heavy capabilities of the enemy. And at the end of this precision strike, another 30 elements by this time captured both the survivors from the initial strike and some of the guys that were within this retreating base. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what happened? Some of these elements were still able to escape, but in this two precision strike in Kassala, the Malian armed forces were able to send 50 elements to where they came from. Now we move further. The Malian armed forces launched another precision targeted strike in Zantigouila, Mali, where the Malian armed forces discovered an enemy base, and in this enemy base they discovered several motorcycles, GPMG, trucks, and another precision targeted strike followed, and a lot of elements were de-radicalized, and after they were de-radicalized, they were praying to God the right way. So ladies and gentlemen, after this operation, the Malian Armed Forces General Staff informed the public opinion that on the 31st of May, the former air vectors discovered a JNIM camp in the Mopti region, the most kinetic, in my opinion, in Mali. And the Malian forces did what they had to do, which was to launch a precision targeted strike into this base. Ladies and gentlemen, that was not the only strike. According to information, there were multiple air sorties that continued after the initial strike, where a lot of JNIM were neutralized. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still waiting for the assessment of the damage on ground, but according to information, the initial report states that the capabilities of the enemy, the motorcycles, and all other logistic capability that they have within this base was completely routed. Now, that is the information from the central region of Mali. Now, the Russian African Corps and the Malian farmer, they detected a group of malicious elements of the JNIM in the Lere region, and a close combat operation ensued. But ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately for this JNIM personnel, they tried their best to confront the Malian and the Russian African Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know the results. After neutralizing this element, the Malian armed forces and the Russian African Corps ensured that their logistic capability were completely destroyed. Now, we move forward into Kayes. This is the western part of Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malian armed forces discovered a base in Kayes, and This was a joint aerial bombardment by the Malian Armed Forces and the Russian African Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, this base was completely destroyed. You see, this is the initial strike. And after some time, the Malian Armed Forces launched another strike. And after this precision targeted strike, everything within the base, including logistics and personnel, sabotaged. So, ladies and gentlemen, according to the information we have, the farmer and the Russian African Corps escorted the Malian civilian convoy from Kolokani to their destination. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a report.
The sky and the earth under the control of the Malian armed forces and their Russian partners. The proud march of a fruitful and mutually beneficial partnership which chills the adversaries. This is hardly surprising, for the Bambara say that we shall see Poira Diakuma from Numbudoko, Bamako, Sandare, Bamako. An operation to secure people and their property over nearly 1,000 kilometers. An achievement in the eyes of some, but an ordinary mission for our soldiers. Power and professionalism are demonstrated concretely on the ground. Throughout the journey from Kolokani to Sandare, passing through Jomara and Dieman, every kilometer is carefully monitored with heightened vigilance on the roads, in the forests and in the valleys. All planned ambushes have been successfully detected in advance and neutralized, ensuring that every one of these surprise attacks is completely foiled before they can cause any harm. And suspicious individuals are apprehended. To manage the logistics from point A to point B, which means leaving Bamako here for point A without stopping point B. And to manage the logistics from point B back to point A, which means stopping again in Bamako. So the goal is to ensure the safety of people and their property. During this mission, we had good cooperation with our partners, the Russians. They maintain constant and unwavering surveillance. Behind the success of the festivities throughout the national territory, the Malian armed forces and their Russian partners work with the utmost discretion so that this joy of living continues to shine over our country.
There was a report that was fed to the Malian forces about men that could not be identified in Manaka, and they were wandering all over the place. But the civilians that reported at the time did not know that these were not malicious elements. According to information, these were people that were known.
In Sector 3 of the Operation Dugukoloko, following the events of April 25th, 2026, 40 individuals initially apprehended during a major security sweep were officially released on Tuesday, May 26th, 2026. They were placed at the disposal of the military police for thorough identity checks. These individuals have been released following thorough investigations.
In the Tombouctou region, the women of Sector 3 organized intensive security operations in various towns, which led to the arrest of several dozen suspects and the search of multiple vehicles. After verifying their identities, there was no reason to keep them. They are known in the city, they live here, they are not suspects. We are going to release them, especially on the eve of the holiday, so that these people who have done nothing wrong can go celebrate with their families.
I originally left the city of Gao to travel all the way to Yafunke. When I finally arrived here in the historic city of Timbuktu, since I am a complete stranger to this land, the kind local people, they came out to meet me and brought me here to this place. Alhamdulillah, still I was comfortable. I had my meals early in the morning. I enjoyed breakfast or lunch and also dinner. Everything, even if I were at home, I would have to look for what to eat. Here they give me everything. There is the bantul for you to use. And there is also a nice television that you can enjoy watching.
This decision by the command demonstrates, if it were still necessary, that the actions of the Malian armed forces are strictly in line, in compliance with the laws of the Republic and international humanitarian law. In Timbuktu, the Malian army once again proves that protecting the people goes hand in hand with exemplary professional rigor.
Several different people have been brought in as potential suspects for questioning. As soon as they arrive, we register them. We search for the families. We undertake a comprehensive and meticulous investigation to accurately verify their specific identities. So, as a direct result of this extensive process, we have arrived at the formal decision to release all 40 suspects immediately and without further delay.
Through this action, the message from the military hierarchy is unequivocal and is expressed in 3 strategic steps. First, any individual suspected of acts of terrorism or complicity with armed terrorist groups will be systematically apprehended and brought before the justice system. Next, true to their core values, the FAMA guarantee the physical integrity of every person detained.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the Gubi community in Niger State, the Nigerian armed forces completely dazed the bandits. And ladies and gentlemen, you can see after this operation where the bandit base was completely destroyed with a lot of bandits neutralized, you can see how the people of Gubi are celebrating. That is not the only thing. The Nigerian military hit another ISWAP hideout where a lot of ISWAP elements were neutralized. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't really show you the clear video of the body count. It's massive. When the Nigerian troops decide to do what they know how to do best, miracles happen on the battlefield. But ladies and gentlemen, we have another information. In Burkina Faso, the Burkinabe armed forces have just recorded another huge victory from Yaga to Seba. The Burkinabe armed forces have just reconquered a lot of territory.
Another resounding success for our defense and security forces engaged on the anti-terrorist front. Risking their lives, they were once again in Seba and Solhan, two towns that are coming back to life after difficult times. Our senior reporter followed this journey every step of the way. Seba Solhan, when the land resists, it's with Iradan Felipe Ada. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to 52 on the hour.
On a reddish carpet of laterite, the sharp zigzag. On board, Captain Aris. He is the commander of the 9th Rapid Intervention Battalion. The officer leads us into the heart of an escort operation heading toward Yaga. The radio spits out martial instructions. It's well known danger here does not forgive. You have to
say that here they rely on more than just explosive devices, those dangerous terrorists. That is correct. Their entire method of operation is heavily centered around the use of landmines.
We are on the outskirts of Dori. It's neither the doorway nor the threshold, but truly the heart of the Sahel.
The very last one that we saw in a single day, that was definitely our absolute limit. We served, we slept here. Everything we managed to do in a day was here.
Less than about 10 kilometers from the current position.
No more than 10 like that.
And exactly at what time did that happen?
It actually took place back in September.
The seasoned infantrymen are therefore back on the road this April.
So this is your designated mission leader, Lieutenant Gajon. Gajon, we have brought along a very special longtime friend for you to meet.
We have just met an affable war chief. Determined, the officer is responsible for bringing the convoy safely to port. 2 reliefs follow. The 41st RIC is the Security and Intervention Group of the National Gendarmerie. Here it is the full power of the state that is in motion, including the standard. The mission is to resupply Seba and Solhan. The first stage is 90 kilometers away. A route riddled with risks, but one to which the unit has become accustomed. On the scorching track, every move counts. A commando of deminers hunts for the slightest clue, careful never to be caught off guard, because the terrorists, weakened in their offensive capabilities, now rely on homemade mines. These rudimentary devices have become their weapon of choice. But faced with this insidious threat, the soldiers are refining their technique. The town of Sampelgan is in the men's sights. It's a strategic location and has therefore become dangerous. And to get through it, the unit will have to pull out all the stops. Iron rods, wheels, bolts, and screws. The device is assembled piece by piece with mechanical precision.
It's a device that allows us to counter IEDs as we advance. So it's very effective for our maneuvers.
This is maize from Burkina. Bansi is assembled in the field and is meant to be improved further to continue changing the course of the war against terrorism. Here, innovation is not a luxury. It is a vital and strategic necessity that allows us to move forward with confidence. Because the men needed to get through this decisive stage. Entering St. Pelgan means crossing a contested territory. This is the infamous three-border zone. Here, the absence of inhabitants weighs heavier than the presence of weapons.
This is where the students' desks are set up. There with lips pressed together, they came here today because they know the convoy is here. They've already gone back, for example, into the Niger area. Just like that, where there's Ripley, there's the Khan.
Two desks at the corner of the track, a Baroque decor that's almost ordinary, remnants of a shift caused by fear. Where fear and silence once reigned, now the engines of the army roar. Today,
the village was on the verge of developing very well. Frank had just attacked the gendarmerie. After that, what did they come back to? Giving his gentle discomfort to the villagers to get up, and now they've all left.
To St. Pelgar, the landscape surprises with its contrasts. Few ruins, paradoxically intact concessions, frozen in time. The locality did not experience massive destruction. Here, the war seems to have spared the walls, but not the mines. With Pomer as a pseudonym, we learn more about the village. The national VDP frequented the town during its glory days. Today, the man is frustrated by this ghostly setting that does not rule out danger.
It's very, very dangerous. This is actually their stronghold. And then the Nimio you see there, the Nimio contributed a great deal here. It destroyed its landscape. That Nimio there were actions that took place here. It was very bad. They are the ones who contributed to the destruction of St. Pelgar. I know that area like my own strength.
St. Pelgar, even deserted, remains inhabited by a silent tension in the shadow of a war that never fades. The massive giant still stands, and at its feet, the visible scars of a criminal act, deep craters from shattered and destroyed mines. As they pass through here, the deminers are vigilant, thinking that the earth itself could still betray them. Moreover, the locality now embodies the paradox of the Sahel. Lands rich in history and life, yet emptied in some places by fear and violence. Nevertheless, the escorts continue while waiting for the area to be pacified and for the population to return. In this war of patience and precision, victory is decided with every kilometer traveled, every compound inspected, every mine defused. For this journey across the sandy desert, hundreds of civilians on various mounts are treading the ground. Camels, trailers, and tricycles loaded with food supplies but also livestock brave the dust.
In any case, they took all the animals from Seba. Anyway, that's why people took the time to bring them to Seba to see. Some will bring them to Seba, others will bring them to Sone. In any case, it becomes healthy, especially during Tabaski. It's very healthy.
Several heads of goats are on their way, destined to replenish the livestock of a remote locality. This locality is no doubt eagerly awaiting the supplies, or rather the active solidarity of the state. A tangible form of aid which takes the shape of chairs on the ground, carried at arm's length by the infantrymen. These are the same people who manage the escort to prevent any disorder. On this first day of the journey, it's a real race against time. While the sun is already setting on the horizon, still far from our destination, we have to let the days slip by, one by one like pearls. Here, it's not the long hours of waiting that matter, but the life saved and the challenge overcome. So sometimes you have to leave the road and carve a path through the bush, a hostile terrain that imposes its own rules. But the operation adapts with whatever resources are available. The military engineers are there to overcome obstacles and invent solutions. In this arid landscape, everyone is pushing forward, but ahead of us lie 1,000 more trials, perhaps the toughest ones, and among them, breakdowns. This trailer is absolutely and completely soaked, and now feeling utterly exhausted. With tense expressions, the crew tries everything to save the vehicle and its precious cargo. The ordeal is compounded by a mechanical failure. Once out of the sand, it needs to be towed. The driver has the support of his fellow drivers and the soldiers. After several attempts, the vehicle finally broke free with all its weight. In reality, this is only the beginning of a true ordeal for the convoy, especially with trucks that are buckling under enormous loads. That's why some people crack at the slightest test of endurance. This is how the escort's progress is slowed down as the hours go by. This afternoon, the head of the convoy managed to get 15 kilometers before Seba, with civilians overwhelmed by fatigue, hunger, and thirst.
Since the population is with us, we're here ensuring security. And given that since we've decided to camp, we've also decided to give them water, as the Burkinabe army plans for everything. And that's how it's done, so they can quench their thirst. And who knows, maybe tomorrow we might be able to resume our progress.
In a coordinated manner, the units will distribute the precious liquid for the travelers' vital needs. The civilians, who are also being assisted by the medical corps. Here, the young boy isn't feeling his best. The worried mother is waiting for a life-saving gesture from the military nurse, almost a miracle. Consultation. Diagnosis, care administered, and the smile returns. With a meal served, the heart is even more at ease. The lady and her child can return to the resting place at sunset. Then calm, while some trucks are still lagging behind. In Borbe or in Pan, it's the military engineers who have taken on the chore. For hours, the bulldozer has been clearing the track everywhere, turning everything to dust. The darkness too silences the walls, encircling the vehicles. The luckiest are pulled out, escaping the trap of the shifting sand. That one, however, will remain in solitude. The intricate labyrinth strap has now firmly closed on 8 heavy trucks. The driver and apprentice unload the essentials for the bivouac. Time here feels reassuring. The strike drone will provide surveillance throughout the night. It's a new day, perhaps a decisive one for the convoy. Last night, only darkness was able to put a stop to the work of freeing the vehicle stuck in the mud. Today, we set out again. Because here at B9, the doctrine is clear. Nothing must be left behind. On the road, the armada of a merciless war. Armored vehicles, bulldozers, flatbeds, and backhoes cut through the dust. This morning, the complex recovery operation primarily consists of carefully unloading the heavy vehicles to significantly lighten their weight, which makes it much easier for the team to finally free them from the deep, clinging mud. It is a grueling scene where human muscle and cold steel work in perfect harmony, tirelessly tackling the challenge of moving the intact cargo and all of its precious contents to safety before the vehicles can be extracted from the mire. Fear has changed sides completely. We're on the last vehicle. The assembly line work is organized to go faster. Here with the crane, this truck doesn't stand a chance. At the same time, the bulldozer sets its sights on the second to last vehicle. While the young men are dealing with the most complicated case, some are transferring the cargo, others are preparing the equipment for towing. The driver, for his part, has already identified the breakdown in his vehicle and even the cause. The road thus appears as a recurring problem for these truckers. But not this. As for the mission leader, he often prefers to voice his opinions openly.
This is the most complicated part of the mission. It puts people at risk. It exposes the units as well as the escorted personnel. We're going to be stuck with this vehicle. We're going to spend a whole day here. We're in an area where we can't move. They've had plenty of time to gather information about our positions and get ready. The government people didn't understand what they were doing. Right now they are carefully lining up all of the transport vehicles along the narrow corridors. That doesn't make things any easier.
It's a challenge that Lieutenant Jason and his men take to heart in order to minimize the danger. Every passage here is a battle against both nature and the enemy. It's also a struggle where fatigue competes with determination, but no one here gives up. Every precise movement is a source of active solidarity. He is accustomed to large military convoys. The very presence of this individual here serves as a profound and living testament to history. He is a man who has witnessed and personally experienced with his own eyes the courageous actions of the brave fighters who hold him in such high regard. After hitching up, the last truck is pulled out of the ground. It's almost a battle won, allowing the convoy to cautiously continue its journey along rutted and suspicious tracks. Ever present, the military engineering units intervene at every moment, sweeping away obstacles with a flick of the bucket. Like here, where the group of men needed only just a few short minutes to construct a bridge. We have been moving for several hours through the territory of Yaga. Not a single centimeter of asphalt. Development reduced to the bare minimum.
That's the fault of a past without vision,
says a soldier, his face closed off. Livestock, supplies, personal belongings, a Quranic book, all bear witness to a hostile land. The Serb denies terrorists who engage in crime and trafficking. Deception is a sky turned green. Gold is traded here openly, in full view of everyone. But one question remains: who benefits from this plundering? You are alone, surrounded by gold everywhere. Sites of artisanal gold panning are spreading. The convoy moves forward through a landscape where the underground economy mingles with terrorist threats. And the searches of the villages lead to chases. Isolated individuals have just appeared on the western flank. There is a question of balance of power in this manhunt, and of resources as well. With brambles, brush, and dust, nothing slows down the commando unit, with the armored vehicle leading the way. For the terrorists, there is no escape. The threat is neutralized in a short time. And especially at the moment of their fatal destiny. It is a decisive day, and the men are determined to prove it. At the time of rest, the Guitang comes to honor the results. Fuel, motorcycles, communication equipment, and makeshift weapons. All of it abandoned by the fleeing terrorists. In a village in good condition, a paradox revealed the day after. In reality, the unit dared to confront danger even at home, in this territory of the notorious Three Borders Zone. The commander, for his part, holds the material evidence.
The day before yesterday, there was a gathering. It was in the village of Isagaria. That is where the gathering of the Gatas took place. And now when we came, they fled. And that's when they ended up leaving all of this behind.
Searches to enforce Sharia law. It's a kind of vigilante justice, ruthless and direct. But since last night, the tribunal has collapsed. At least for now, it has retreated to its base. Along with 7 teenagers, sons of a terrorist on the run. An astonishing and unthinkable fact just a short while ago.
Before it wasn't possible, it wasn't even imaginable. But now it's okay. They're even trying to settle for a draw. Thank you very much.
A draw. Or rather, a fragile compromise, an escape to avoid the inevitable, death. In this territory, long marked by terror, the balance of power seems to be wavering. Today, the fighters...
The team members are currently in the middle of making all the necessary arrangements and are preparing everything they need for the upcoming task ahead of them.
A wish that reflects the character of a man shaped by experience in difficult terrains. With him, it's the return of the local child. He is a true product of the area who learned to wage war from the very beginning. The dream of seeing the end of this onslaught. But first, the last kilometers to Seba must be faced like a final. It's not just a distance to cover. It's a symbol because at any moment, everything can change. The deminers have resumed their search for the past few minutes. The sweeping units are coming to join up with the military detachment from Seba. Suddenly, a powerful explosion echoes loudly in the immediate vicinity. Emergency situation? A homemade mine has just exploded, taking out most of the vehicle. At this location, where the remains bear the weight of many questions, at the bottom of the road, the debris from the pickup truck is scattered dozens of meters away.
You see, that's where the whole vehicle is. It's all the way over there. That's about 60 to 70 meters like that.
Unfortunately, this is the harsh reality of a terrain that is sometimes brutal and, to say the least, unforgiving.
Really, the mine on the bank took out one of our fighters. Yes, that is absolutely correct.
That's it. He's a fighter. An enemy attack that just caused some injuries, especially among the crew members. Out of danger, they are being evacuated to Duri for better care.
We will resume our advance while putting all necessary measures in place to succeed. Nothing will stop us. Let's keep moving.
Thank you.
Determined, Lieutenant Ganov and his men at the front will stay the course. And here we are at last crossing the gate of Sevan. The welcome is warm. The atmosphere is incredibly vibrant, and the ulemas are full of festive spirit. The news spread like wildfire. The commandos are here. No one wants to miss out on history. Everyone wants to experience it live. In the public square, the warriors are cheered like true heroes, a clear choice shared by the entire population who had been waiting for supplies. Seba, where the city of hope in Gurmachaman has been through everything, only to sink into despair. Repeated attacks, blockades, cattle thefts, the place was for a long time a permanent battlefield where psychosis reigned, with death staring you in the face.
You're sitting in your house, hiding, maybe in the bathroom, on the roof, or even in the chicken coop. You don't know, and suddenly you hear gunfire coming from everywhere. In your mind, you tell yourself that you're the only one still alive. It's only when you go outside that you realize there are many others still alive. Truly, we never want to go through that again.
Today, a positive development is emerging for Seba. A new situation that allows people to go about their daily activities. This dry season, though harsh, is not without its rewards. Cabbages, onions, lettuces. These crops thrive thanks to the hard work of the station military detachment, which ensures the security of this renewal. The unit patrols and reassures the population. We
live with the new system, which has somewhat expanded the space for off-season crops. Now, if we could expand further to reach at least the villages 13 to 15 kilometers away. At the same time, by having both major crops and off-season crops, there would be food self-sufficiency. We would be free both in terms of food and economically.
It is a formal request or even a real shock therapy to enable the community to regain its former vitality and health. For now, some social services continue to operate with whatever resources they have. At the district hospital, the scars of terrorism are visible. And amid countless challenges, the staff continue to provide service. Human resources, logistics, evacuation, healthcare. But the main obstacle here remains energy. The installations were severely damaged by lightning. The installation.
Solar does not work. On top of that, with the generator, there are fuel supply problems, which makes things far from easy. So honestly, if we could just get a bit more professional support with these residential solar installations, it would really be much better for everyone involved.
It is truly a disease eating away at this major health center in Seba. The rot affects all the services. Some are even struggling to start up due to a lack of staff.
Right here, for example, this is a modern radiology building that was originally constructed between the years of 2019 and 2020. But it was fully equipped in 2021. So if this vital building can really be brought back into full operation once again, I truly think it will be a huge relief for everyone. Because there's the radiology department, and in any case, all of the essential ultrasound equipment is located there as well. So it really takes a tremendous amount of energy and effort to get everything running.
Human resources are also in demand at the Provincial High School of Seba. For now, despite the small number of people serving the state here, the homeland remains at the center of priorities. The flag bearer accompanies the flag to inspire patriotic life and foster civic engagement.
In any case, we carried out this flag raising to instill in them as well a message, a lesson in patriotism, a lesson in respect for the country, a lesson also in respect for the values that are dear to us.
The reopening of the high school is one of the major achievements of the local military detachment. But behind these results lies a range of grievances. The construction of a fence, the creation of a well, and many other things as well.
If we could really secure some substantial support in terms of additional qualified personnel, it would honestly help us out a great deal and significantly improve our overall efficiency. Assignments of teachers or for the temporary staff who are here, if it's really possible to integrate them into the civil service. And if that's not possible either, we could potentially hire them as dedicated community staff members. And that would really help us a great deal in educating these precious little ones in our care.
These students and their teachers are easily regaining their habits as learners and mentors. Despite limited resources, the high school manages to carry out its program with hope and perseverance. It is still waiting for a response from the state, which is gradually regaining its integrity in these territories. Already the exams are among those things. Solhan is just a stone's throw away. The progress is tangible. In the past, it took more than a day to reach the town, which is 12 kilometers away. Today, the journey is still difficult, but this time it only required 7 hours of patience, with 8 mines destroyed along the way. A large part of the convoy, notably the relief for the gendarmerie detachment, thus completes its journey at the heart of a secured town. The city receives supplies for food, but also welcomes fresh blood for security watch. Security. Members of the National Gendarmerie Security and Intervention Group take up positions. At the same time, we are informed that in the coming days, a morale-boosting visit from the command in Dori is expected. That's the nature of war. The area is sensitive and demands the utmost discipline from the fighters. They support the leadership in meeting the challenge. No time to waste. The next day, the atmosphere changes. Discipline blends with emotion, and unity is strengthened around the national symbol.
Attention for the half raising of the flag. Send it up.
Their gaze is fixed. The flag is flying. This simple yet solemn gesture unites the men in a single breath. The moment recalls the fighters' oath and rekindles their patriotic commitment.
We have just performed the flag raising ceremony this morning. This is part of our rotation here. For those arriving in Solhan, we wish them a safe return home. We are deeply concerned about these matters, and we also commit to implementing comprehensive and decisive actions in great depth to further strengthen our efforts in every area where it might currently be lacking, in order to continue ensuring total security and actively fostering a vibrant culture of awareness among the entire population.
The mission is therefore clear. The lieutenant, the guide, and his men are well aware of it. Their comrade Plateau and his company made the citadel impregnable in just 6 months. So behind this military fervor, a memory stands out. That of the civilians struck by violence. In Solhan, the pain of the family still echoes through the concessions. On the morning of June 4th, 2021, the residents of this small village awoke to a scene of unimaginable bloodshed and horror. According to the official toll released by authorities, at least 132 people were left dead in the wake of the violence. On this specific stretch of land that has been forever marked by such a profound tragedy, absolutely no one has forgotten the details of that night of terror. This is especially true for this young man, whose entire family was tragically decimated during the brutal attack carried out by the terrorists. Even in this modern world, there are countless small and fragile miracles that are still bravely fighting against all odds, continuing to struggle every single day just to keep going and survive in the face of overwhelming adversity. The shock. Even though a significant amount of time has passed since that moment, the deep emotional wound still remains painfully wide open, and it feels as though it is completely incurable and impossible to heal.
I am truly delighted to have the opportunity to collaborate with you.
Like this gold panner, many other people crossed paths with the terrorists on the night of June 4th to 5th, 2021. This man survived, but his brother died in the attack. Since then, he has become a regular on this road that leads to the village cemetery. This very afternoon, he leads us directly to this solemn place. Filled with deep emotion here, every single step awakens the vivid memory of those who are now long gone. Mburema Tambura. This system effectively remembers every single detail.
Mound of earth.
It is a very simple thing. Their grave and the numbers. A total of 28 innocent people were tragically buried together within the confines of this somber mass grave. In this sacred and haunting place, the act of forgetting their lives and their stories is simply not allowed, as we are morally bound to keep their memory alive for all generations to come. This place will forever bear the scars of barbarity against human rights. As far as we remember, this is one of the largest massacres of civilians committed by terrorists in Burkina Faso, so that no one can ignore the number of victims each year. The authorities file past and pay their respects. Actions follow to show love. Now it is the turn of the announced command, rather, to bow before the grave, as a gesture of remembrance and respect.
We also took the opportunity to pay our respects to the civilians who unfortunately lost their lives during the events of June 4th, 2021. This is also to say to those who orchestrated this act, whether the main perpetrators or their sponsors, because today we all know that those who are committing these actions are often supported by hands that believe themselves to be invisible. You should know that these people will pay for it. And no matter what, if they have not yet been neutralized, sooner or later justice will be served.
5 years later, Solhan is no longer just an open wound on the map of Burkina Faso. It is the face of silent resilience. A village that refuses to disappear, carrying within it the memory of its martyrs as it awaits lasting peace. Moreover, this is the challenge taken up by these military leaders who have come to encourage their fighters. Commanders Thomas Ouedraogo, Carol Nana, and Faisali Gudu, respectively from the Forces Group, the 6th Rapid Intervention Group, and the Regional Coordination of the VDP. A face-to-face meeting, then a private conversation with serious thoughts. You inspire determination.
And
when night falls, this instilled determination is reflected in vigilance on the ground. This instilled determination translates into vigilance on the ground. Night patrol with Lieutenant Legit. The war chief wants to leave his mark. The rest will be done on foot. But first, they have to prove themselves. In this tense silence, every sound becomes...
That looks suspicious.
The threat remains diffuse, unpredictable.
So, tonight's primary mission and objective is to personally visit and inspect every single one of the positions, strategically reposition several of...
If you're watching this video, I want to thank God that you made it to June. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. It's your boy 7200 signing out. Enough said, but before I go,